The UK Border Agency is at war with smugglers in the ports and airports.
You don't have to say anything.
Get that out of my face.
Coming up, in Dover, cash dog Miller sniffs out some lies.
Wages or...
Yeah, wages.
So have you been working in England then? I thought you came here on holiday.
A suspect is caught with a stash of sensitive aircraft documents.
All his answers are sort of wavering. He's saying one thing, but he's not really backing it up. So he's not telling us the truth about something.
And it's all kicking off in Manchester.
He's having a conversation.
I'll tell you now, you have less of that now, otherwise I'll arrest you and I'll have you upstairs.
Right, let's just
pack it in now.
In Gatwick, a flight has just arrived from Trinidad. It's a well-known source of cocaine, and sniffer dog Rossi has just seconds to pick out any smugglers hiding amongst the innocent passengers.
You'll be all right.
Okay, thank you.
Your voice was right into the
Thank you. That's it. Okay.
Suddenly, Rossi picks up a scent and targets a woman in a white jumper.
Just stand still for me.
UK border sniffer dogs are trained to pinpoint the exact location of any drugs. Rossi indicates on the woman's bag.
Are you together? Are you training by yourself?
The passenger seems nervous, but after the initially strong indication, Rossi loses interest.
Where? Okay, thank you, madam. That's fine, thank you. He basically pulled to get to her, or get to her scent, so I dropped the lead, and he was all around her rucksack, and he dropped the floor, so he tried to get underneath it.
Back down into the channels anyway, just in case your guys have picked anything up down there.
Yeah, I might see what's in her bag anyway.
Meanwhile, Gatwick's newest drug dog, Barney, is examining the baggage from the same flight. Barney gives his strongest indication yet on this black and white spotted suitcase.
I've got a feeling it could be this lady here.
Officers watch as the same woman collects the bag.
And it is. All right, thank you.
With two separate indications, the officers think she must be smuggling cocaine. The team must keep the suspect under surveillance to make sure she doesn't slip away. But surprisingly, it's her who approaches the officers to ask for some directions. Fitz intercepts the passenger.
Hi, where are you travelling from today?
Here called Trinidad.
Trinidad. You travel on your own?
Yeah.
Okay, just have a quick word if that's all right.
Hello.
But now the suspect seems more relaxed, even as Barney gives another unmistakable indication. The sniffer dogs believe the bags contain cocaine, but now it's up to Fitz to find it. In Manchester, UK border officers are on the lookout for people bringing in more than 200 cigarettes on a flight from Gran Canaria. They spot 2 bags full of cigarettes. Kevin puts them back on the carousel, giving the passengers the opportunity to declare the excess, using the phone provided in the customs red channel. Ignoring the signs, they walk through nothing to declare, and the passengers aren't happy to hear that the goods will now all be seized.
There's no signage and we have to go pick a phone up. No, there's nothing to tell me to pick a phone up.
When you walk in here...
So can you categorically say I didn't go near that phone?
I can do, yeah, because I watched it. I went round the back of the belt, I x-rayed the flight. I seen you pick up your bags off the belt, and I watched you walk towards the green channel. You never went anywhere near the good to the clear channel. You walked straight into the green channel saying, yeah, not to be clear. Okay? It's going to be no tax. It's going to be seized from you today.
The red phones have been there for years, but the man's still hoping to bend the rules.
There
you go.
What's the crack here?
As the officers are, there's signs out there.
No, there's nothing that says we have to pick a phone up though, is there? Come on.
We can't, there's nothing we can do. If you'd have declared them at the red point, you could have paid the dues.
Of course there's something you can do.
There's not.
No, I've never brought anything back in there.
Now other passengers decide to get involved.
No reason because they love to
It's an offence, you know.
I'm talking to you, mate. I'm talking to you. Well, I'm not listening to you.
Right, I'll just show you the red point where the gentleman that's just been very abusive to us about not having the opportunity to declare the cigarettes. This is where he should have come. Bringing in excess goods, you should declare them at the red point. The gentleman's argument was there was no staff behind the red point. We tried to explain that there's a red phone there for him to use, and he said, well, he shouldn't have to do that. There's no signs telling you to do that. And there quite clearly is. It says there, goods to declare, you must speak to an officer or make your declaration using the red telephone. So, he's not got a leg to stand on, I'm afraid.
And now the man decides to turn nasty.
The fact that, you know, you've got an asshole like you, and you've got a manager who's got no discretion, you're not going to be sleeping the floor.
Unfortunately, that's the way people get. It's just, they get upset because they're having a cigarette seized from them.
Despite clearly being guilty, the men haven't finished abusing the officers just yet. Back in Gatwick, the suspected cocaine smuggler picked out by the sniffer dogs is now being searched.
They did this over there, so it doesn't matter what,
Sorry,
how you pack it back or whatever.
Right, oh, okay.
Because they pretty much messed it up.
Who was that?
They checked the bags and whatever across there.
They checked them before you came out, did they?
They did the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So they pretty much messed it up, so.
Right.
With 3 separate sniffer dog indications on the bags.
Okay, I just need to do a quick x-ray of your suitcase, all right?
Yeah.
UK Border Officer Fitz is convinced he'll find something inside.
All right, doesn't seem to give us that much information about it, so probably have to do a further examination. I'll take it to the tool room and have a look, have a closer look, actually.
Surprisingly, Fitz can find no sign of cocaine. And even the drug swab is clear.
Well, they actually ascertain there's nothing in there. No, which is a bit of a shame, really. Because it was a good indication by the dogs, I must admit.
It's disappointing, but with such strong suspicions, Fitz isn't willing to give up the search just yet.
That's the game that you plug into the television.
Right.
It's a games console dance mat, but something doesn't add up.
Has you got a PlayStation with her?
No.
So why would you have one of these anyway?
Yeah. Right, round 2. I mean, it is heavy as hell.
Fitz then spots the clue he's been after.
The actual casing looks like it's already been removed once before.
This sounds like a sniffer dog. It's just looking for minute particles of substances that within sky high. It's got to be there.
Suspicions are now even higher, but where are the drugs?
This is that rubber impregnation.
That's what I think it is. Ever seen it in a dance mat?
Have you tried doing it on that? You can break the
Yeah, that's what.
Have you broke a bit off?
Oh, you can do if you want to. The material's gone blue. Oh. I can't say that's a positive then.
Amazingly, the rubber inside the dance mat is full of cocaine.
The time is 10 past 10. I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug.
It just goes to show, with smugglers using ever more devious methods, the officers can take nothing for granted.
Anything you do say may be given evidence, do you understand? Okay.
The officers' persistence has paid off, and yet another smuggler has been caught red-handed.
North.
The drugs were ingeniously hidden, and one member of the team deserves a special reward.
Knock yourself out, you little star. Well, he's just had his second job in 3 days to cocaine detections, which is unprecedented for such a new dog. He's only been in the job for 6 months. It's brilliant. But in the meantime, he's going to get this as a treat because it's just an unbelievable job for such a young dog.
And while Barney enjoyed his bone, the woman won't be enjoying her freedom. She pleaded guilty and could be facing around 10 years in prison. Back in Manchester, the angry passengers want to appeal against the decision to seize their cigarettes. But they're now refusing to sign the paperwork.
I had 600 cigs, so I can't remember what it says.
After 2 hours, the men are starting to test the officer's patience.
There you go. That is my argument. Right.
Whether it goes to appeal or not, he won't get his cigarettes back.
Okay.
You won't get your cigarettes back. Because you've entered the goods nothing to declare channel, stating that you've got nothing to declare. And I followed you straight to the green channel.
Dad, just it. Can't be to do, it's just job worse.
Well, I was trying to say that we've got more pressing things to do than stand here arguing with you.
I couldn't agree with you more.
The already tense exchange is about to escalate.
Again, you need to just learn that you learn what? Learn. Why are you talking like that?
Don't talk to me like I'm a piece of shit, lad.
Hold on, you're the one who was talking to us like a piece of
Laughing for no reason. Don't try to tell me what to do. Yo, don't try to tell me what to do. Stand
He's having a conversation.
I'll tell you now, you have less of that now, otherwise I'll arrest you and I'll have you upstairs.
Right, let's
just pack it in now.
And they were getting quite abusive, and it was getting to the stage where we thought they might be having to arrest them for obstruction or even assault. It was getting close to them. It looked like they were going to lash out. Right, I've made our way out. Rude or abusive job. I've tried to be. Luckily, we talked them round and they've left in the end, but I'm not very happy. We've had the cigarettes seized. Just straight down there and then round to your left.
The illegal cigarettes will now be destroyed. Coming up, officers stop a suspected terrorist.
All his answers are sort of wavering. He's saying one thing, but he's not really backing it up. So he's not telling us the truth about something.